The executive arm of government appears to have recorded successes and, of course, some challenges in 2016. While there were major breakthroughs in the fight against terror, the president has been facing the pressure of the economic recession. In continuation of our review of 2016, our State House correspondent Chukwuma Onwekusi takes a look at the executive.
President Buhari entered 2016 with high hopes and expectations, the same way many Nigerians did. Like an eagle, he focused on the tripod on which the administration stands, beginning with security.
Say no to shakeout.
Nigerian soldiers and their commander-in-chief celebrate the fall of Sambisa Forest, the major stronghold of Boko Haram. The reason is obvious.
If there is no security, nothing can work.
Even his lieutenants beat their chest that the president has done well, describing the fall of Boko Haram as a Christmas gift to Nigerians.
We can say that what has happened in 2016 is a mopping up process. But don't forget that the mopping up process can be as very important as the actual shooting process. So mopping up had been taking place throughout this year, and we have got to the final stage of that with Camp Zero falling.
In 2016, Nigeria plunged into recession. Oil price plummeted and vandalism of oil pipelines reigned supreme. The president and his team tried very hard to exonerate themselves from the blames, heaping it on past administrations.
We did not and are not responsible, this administration, for the current economic situation we find ourselves in. We are actually a rescue team.
The president also pleads with Nigerians to be patient with the administration, blaming his predecessors for Nigeria's woes.
I don't know how long it will take me to recover from the shock.
A cross-section of Nigerians cry out on the streets.
We should forget about the blame game. He has come on board and he must do something. Nigeria is in his hand. No matter what happened, the economy of this country is in his hand. He has no excuse. There is no justification. There are so many reasons to fail, but there is no justification for failure.
It appears the present government came into power without preparation.
Whether a bad leader, a good leader, let us encourage him, let us support him.
In 2016, the fight against corruption was intensified. The president blew the whistle over budget padding, a scandal that nearly ruined the relationship between the executive and the legislature.
I was head of state for 20 months initially. I never heard that word padding until this year. The technocrats just allow the government to make its noise, go and make presentation to the National Assembly, so they will remove it and put their own.
More recovery of stolen funds were recorded in 2016.
In the coming year, we would be utilizing 280 billion naira of the recovered funds to support the incoming budget.
An interesting passing year for the presidency, looking ahead to a brighter future and a prosperous 2017. Chukwuma Onwekusi, Channels Television News.
Once more, congratulations for coming out in one.
Public affairs analyst and a lecturer at the University of Abuja, Dr. Abubakar Kari, joins me on the news at 10 from our Abuja studios. I want to thank you so much indeed for coming on the news at this time. Let's start from your assessment of the performance of the executive arm of government in 2016. What are your observations?
Well, I think on a scale, I would say that the jury is still out. However, I think the sentiment of most Nigerians is that the presidency has underperformed, or it has not performed up to the expectations of Nigerians. Yes, there have been successes here and there, but we can also point at a presidency that have been flip-flopping throughout the year. And at certain periods, it was dogged by controversies, some of them self-inflicted. And towards the end of the year, it got enmeshed in scandals. So on a scale, I would say 2016 is not exactly good or bright for the Buhari presidency.
Interesting. Well, the convener of the Situation Room, Clement Nwankwo, I spoke to him yesterday on the news at 10. He said that not a single executive bill was presented in 2016. What does this speak of the executive arm of government?
Yeah, it shows that perhaps the executive are not exactly up and doing, or as one of the contributors said, they are not prepared. We expected, for instance, the fight against corruption to be institution-driven, and institution-driven in such a way that the legal framework, especially of the ICPC and the EFCC, would be strengthened. And this is by sending bills to the parliament. In fact, there are so many areas of governance that deserves the attention of the National Assembly in terms of legislative enactments, and these things have not been done. So not to prioritize sending of bills as part of governance, I think, is a huge minus for the presidency.
You will also agree that the presidency, through its TSA policy and, of course, recovery of stolen funds from Nigeria, has made some advancements. What are your views as regards those?
Yeah, I think this is one of the bright things that happened in 2016. We have witnessed an intensification of the fight against corruption. As a matter of fact, unprecedented prosecution of hitherto unthinkable personalities, including Army and Air Force generals, politically expert persons, and even judges of the appellate courts have been taken to court. And we have heard that hundreds of billions of naira have been recovered, and as announced by Garba Shehu, 280 billion of such recoveries are going to be part of the 2017 budget. So I think this is quite commendable. And we expect in the coming years this fight against corruption, these recoveries of loot will be intensified, because the nation needs every cover, every nickel that has been stolen, that has been looted and stashed away to be channeled for the development of the country.
In bringing this discussion to a close, what would you recommend as an action plan that will put the presidency in better light come 2017?
Yeah, two things. A huge question mark has been placed on the quality and competence of the president team. So I think it is very important for the president to revisit his own cabinet with a view to making some changes and adjustments here and there. Competent people should be appointed. Square pegs should be put in the square holes. That is one. Secondly, I think we deserved a blueprint, some kind of a working document that we can always point out and say, this is indeed the Buhari agenda, beyond mere rhetorics. Every government policy, every government program should be brought out from such a blueprint or a document, so that we can be able to do some kind of audit, so that we will know exactly the direction of the government. So far, the government has not been moving with any concrete compass. This compass is necessary for governance to be proactive and successful.
A public affairs analyst and indeed a lecturer at the University of Abuja, Dr. Abubakar Karim, thanks indeed for talking to us here on the News at 10.